Next month, Europe's AI Act stops being a thing that is coming and becomes a thing that is here. From the 2nd of August, the world's first comprehensive law on artificial intelligence applies across all 27 member states. And then, one day before I sat down to write this, the European Union amended its own law and pushed the single biggest deadline in it back by 16 months. I am Marco, and this is Bowl of Data. Today, what Europe actually decided about artificial intelligence, what genuinely lands next month, and what quietly slipped to 2027. Both of those stories are true at the same time, and the distance between them tells you more about where Europe stands than either one on its own. Start with the one idea that explains the whole law. The AI Act does not really regulate artificial intelligence. It regulates what you point it at. The same model can sit inside a photo filter and be almost untouched by the law, or sit inside a hiring tool and carry obligations closer to those of a medical device. Risk lives in the application, not in the algorithm. That gives you 4 tiers. A small number of uses are banned outright. A larger set is called high-risk, AI that decides on jobs, credit, education, or access to essential public services. Those carry real engineering and paperwork duties. A 3rd tier is allowed, but has to be honest about itself. And everything else, which is most of the software most people touch, is left alone entirely. One detail catches non-European companies out. The law follows the output, not the office. If your system's results are used in the European Union, it reaches you, whether you sit in Palo Alto, Bangalore, or Milan. So what has Europe decided it simply will not allow? The outright bans have been enforced since February of last year, and they are the most direct statement of values in the whole text. Scoring citizens on their general social behavior. Reading emotions in workplaces and schools, outside narrow medical and safety uses. Scraping faces off the internet to build recognition databases. Predicting who will commit a crime from personality profiling alone. Sorting people by biometrics into sensitive categories like race, politics, or sexual orientation. Live facial recognition in public spaces by police, apart from a short list of serious exceptions. And deliberately manipulating people or exploiting the vulnerabilities of the old, the young, or the poor in ways that cause real harm. Last week's amendment added one more, and this one went in the strict direction, not the lenient one. AI systems built to generate child sexual abuse material, and systems built to generate non-consensual intimate images, the so-called nudifier apps. That ban bites in December. Break any of these and you are in the top penalty band, up to 35 million euros or 7% of worldwide annual turnover, whichever hurts more. For a large platform, that is not a cost of doing business. That is a strategy meeting. Then there are the rules for the models themselves, the part that governs ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, and their competitors. Those have been live since August of last year, and honestly, they are lighter than the volume of commentary suggests. If you put a general-purpose model on the European market, you keep technical documentation of how it was trained and tested. You hand downstream developers enough information to understand its capabilities and its limits. You publish a policy for respecting European copyright. You publish a summary of the data it was trained on. That last one is still the most commercially uncomfortable sentence in the entire act. The most capable models carry more. Where a model is powerful enough to be presumed a systemic risk, the provider owes adversarial testing, documented risk assessment, and reporting of serious incidents. That is the closest thing in law anywhere to a frontier model safety regime. Now, what actually lands next month? The transparency tier, and it was not delayed. From the 2nd of August, you have to be told when you are talking to a machine, unless it is already obvious. AI-generated audio, images, video, and text have to carry machine-readable marking that identifies them as synthetic. You have to be told when a system is reading your emotions or sorting you biometrically. Deepfakes have to be disclosed as deepfakes with a carve-out for art, comedy, and satire. And AI-written text published to inform the public has to say so, unless a human editor took real responsibility for it. The penalty band here is up to 15 million euros, or 3% of worldwide turnover. That is the part ordinary listeners will actually notice, and it survived intact. What did not survive intact is the high-risk regime. Obligations for standalone high-risk systems, the hiring tools, the credit tools, the education tools, slipped from next month all the way to December of 2027. High-risk AI embedded inside regulated products slipped to 2028. Regulatory sandboxes moved, and the duty on employers to build AI literacy in their staff was softened, from ensuring competence to merely supporting it. There is a defensible case for that. The technical standards companies were supposed to conform to were not finished, and asking industry to build against a moving target produces compliance theater rather than safer systems. There is also a less flattering case. A legislature discovered its own rules were unworkable 6 days before they applied, after 2 years in which an entire consulting industry built against that date. Both readings are fair. But the EU cave to big tech is the wrong summary, because in the very same week Brussels loosened the paperwork, it also banned notifier apps outright. Europe relaxed the process and raised the floor. So here's the detail I keep coming back to. If a machine makes a decision about you, you can already complain to your national authority today. But the right that actually matters, the right to demand a clear explanation of how an AI reached a decision about your job, your loan, or your benefits, is bolted to that high-risk regime. So it moved with everything else, which is the fairest verdict on Europe's AI law next month. The labels arrive on time, the accountability arrives in December 2027. That's the bowl for this week.